What's up, this is Attila and welcome to Flow of Attila, the third. Yeah, so I'm actually taking a little hike and this is just a beautiful day to do this. Again, I wanted to thank you for all the questions that you guys been sending me. I really appreciate it. If you want to support, to help to grow this channel, just make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a like and all that stuff, you know how it goes. But yeah, regardless, it's been fun to do these videos. I love it a lot, so I will keep doing it. Without further talk, let's start today's Flow of Attila. Ask me anything. In this series, I'm answering to your beautiful questions. From Dissonant A, I'm really impressed with your dime guitar. Sounds great too. I was wondering, what's your favorite tour you've been a part of? Thanks, man. Regarding my favorite tour that I've done so far, I'd say I gotta pick the first international, like really international tour that I did when I was 24, I guess. And it was with Voros and his solo band in North America, and we also played a show in Canada, Vancouver. That tour was a major step in my musical career, and also I got to play with one of my absolute favorite singers and play some of the songs that I grew up listening to. We played his entire first solo album. I guess it was at least one Nevermore song, which I got to pick with Dagna, the bass player. We both voted for it, which was Tomorrow Turns Into Yesterday. Great song, I always wanted to play before. So yeah, that tour, it was a small tour, small venues, little crowds, but it was just so much fun to be a part of. Everybody loved it. Play every day with Voros was something out of this world for me. And I still up to this day hold that tour in a very special place in my heart. Thanks for the question and thanks for reminding me of this beautiful tour. Let's see the next one. From Ankari7244. Hi Attila, your guitaring is an inspiration to me as a sausage-fingered fret abuser, and my cue is probably a bit boring. When you were learning, how did you stay passionate and not get bored with being not good? I'm not very good and I wonder if I will ever like anything that I play. What is that? It all sounds awful to me, boring to listen to and rubbish tonally. Thanks for reading, all the best with your content and blasting out the crunching riffs. Love your passion for PanterA. Man, so I teach guitar and one of my #1 rules is when you step into my place, leave the negativity, the negative talk that you have towards yourself behind and outside. Answering your question, how I kept it not boring for myself, I just loved it. I just did the kind of stuff that I enjoyed. I never really forced too much on myself unless I wanted to do it. And so it was a gradual thing. Of course, there were some frustrating moments when I thought that, you know, I got stuck with a certain technique or whatnot. But to be honest, I just stopped doing those and I soon switched to play what I enjoyed. And also, very soon, almost like instantly, when I started to play guitar, with my friend, we went down to rehearsal place and we just jammed. We didn't even know what we were doing, but we were having so much fun. Try to find the part of it that you enjoy and you have a lot of fun doing it. It's crucial to me. You don't have to compete with anyone, maybe with yourself, your yesterday self. You know, give yourself a break and enjoy. Give time for it. Be realistic also is a key. For that, you know, you have to know yourself. So, I don't know, just try to find a way so that you enjoy what you're doing. It's key for me, for sure. From 101 Proof 3. Do you have any vintage gear that Daryl used, like the Randall Century or Furman PQ3, PEQs, etc.? I mean, I own dime guitars. I don't know if they qualify as vintage dime gear. And I also used to own a Warhead head and even the little MXR graphic EQ, which both at the time I didn't have any knowledge on how to use. So when I first plugged in, for example, the MXR, the blue one, I actually put it in the effects loop because all I knew at the time that you put EQs in the effects loop. And of course now, knowing more about how he used to use this kind of gear, I know that he used to have that in front of the amp. To boost it, to push the signal, which was not the case for me. So it never sounded the same. And it was quite frustrating for me because of that. And then the warhead, the old warhead heads, they also needed some push to have some sound that you could enjoy. And I didn't even know at the time that that the cabinets are such a crucial part for shaping the sound. Definitely more crucial than the amps. So to me, it was both of these gears at the time were a little bit of disappointment. So it was not a big thing for me to let them go. Now, obviously, I miss them, especially the MXR. But I mean, you know, other than that, not really. But I can replicate the sound, you know, like with plugins even, or real amps, by learning more about how to EQ, what kind of cabinets or IRs to use, tweak it to my guitars and my playing. That's how I get the tone, not with the vintage gear. So no, unfortunately not. At the moment I cannot afford to buy or to look for them and buy. Would be nice to have a proper gear, maybe one day. From Kane the Main 7757. What is an early yet defining experience that you still think of regularly from the first band you were in? Honestly, I wouldn't say that I think of it regularly, but if I look it back, because thanks for the question, it's a very nice one. I might say, referring back to one of the questions and the answers I gave to that, like a fond memory to think of now would be my very first time in a rehearsal room. It wasn't even a band, it was just a friend and myself going down making noise. He bought a pair of drumsticks, I had the guitar, no other gear really, maybe a zoom pedal, and it was just the best possible noise that we could make. It was just so much fun. So I like that. I also enjoyed to jam with other people and just to go over their place, learn their tricks. I always recommend this to all my students and anyone who asks on what to do and how to get better, is just to jam with people, go down, learn from them, learn from better if you can. But then I guess the first real band I got into was a band of my classmate at the time. He was mostly the songwriter and they had their way of doing things. But when I joined, I got to do my own parts. I used a different tuning than him. He used to use a drop tuning, which was very foreign for me. So I had a standard tuning, which made me play some different approaches. And also like writing, it was totally new thing for me at the time. Intuitively, I found my ways, and it made me very happy that I could add something to the picture and have my own ideas, and they were accepting with that, and I could play solos and whatnot. So it was cool. I really enjoyed that period of time, those rehearsals, and then eventually the first 2 gigs of my life with them. Maybe I should talk about that, first gigs. Yeah, I can get some even some footage of those in the next video. I would say those. Another extra pick that comes to mind is my first band that I really started to play shows with, which was a Metallica tribute band, which we played, I don't know, more than 100 shows, and it was a great lesson for me, both the rehearsals and both the shows, and it was a great time to jam with those guys. I love that time a lot. Today I was thinking about maybe I'll show you how I put together these SWOLA videos from scratch. So I work in Cubase, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, what kind of DAW you use. Just to show you how I do, I create an empty session. I got some templates that I did. I just pick one of these. This is how an empty session would look like to me. I'll import the drum tracks. As you can see, there's some additional tracks, additional lead tracks, additional clean tracks. I usually track a lot. I'm just gonna show this to you through the other session. The first step is obviously to get the drum tracks. And here I start the actual creative process, usually with the guitar already in my hand. The tuning and whatnot, it's just really I decide on the spot. It really depends on the mood. The first step for me is just to listen to the drum tracks. Due to the technical apparatus that I have at the moment, the track that you can hear will be mono, both the guitars and the audio track, so bear with me. If I don't have a count in, let's say for example for this part, there's a big gap here and only 2 count-ins, and that might not be enough for me. So what I did, just like copied like this groove, I think. That's the one. Put this here, so that it helps to count in for the part. The first step is that I listen to only the drum track. I don't play anything, I just listen to the drum track. Usually I can hear something, some riff, and then I just try to find it on the guitar and then work it out. And usually I just do a loop for that specific part and then I just jam along. And if I found something that's cool, I record it. For example, I think this one kind of started immediately. Like whenever I first heard the drum groove, this end of the rounds, that helped, that gave me the melody. And I kind of knew that I wanted to use the whammy pedal with a certain effect that I'm gonna show you. This was the first track I recorded, and as you can see, the pre-recorded tracks are like just, you know, I write them and then record along the way. It's not like I play that all at once. 20 takes, I edit them, I cut them together. The only thing that is a one take is the live track that I record for the video. So. But so what's cool about this part, I think, you can hear those triads. That one, I actually use that with the whammy, because I always loved those minor and major thirds. I'm used to use this a lot for solos and even for some riffs, mostly solos. So what I did is that I start without the whammy and then this is a major third, and then I do this step down there. And while I do that, I actually pushed down the whammy pedal up, it's a major third, and when it's down, it's a minor third. So the next time when I go up, it's already a minor third. Without the whammy, it will sound like this. Not as cool. So this is the riff and the effect. And for the next part, I did this. I can only play the right track for you, but on the live track, which is the left side, I actually engaged the MXR Phase 90, which is a pretty cool effect. You can hear. But if you pay close attention, it's not always turned on. When I played it on the low string, I turn it off. So on, off, on. Stuff like that. So the two together sounds pretty cool, I think. And then I added a lot of like some clean parts here. Yeah, so. I hear a little bit of the phase as well as the octave function on the whammy. And I think I did something like a higher register so that the picture is wider. Now I can see that I put it on the lead channel, so it's a mistake, what I did. Yeah, so now the whammy pedal gets an octave higher. It goes up, or even two maybe. snap. And then for this gap, I added some noises, some rhythmic noise, just led into the next part. I'm gonna show these two. So there's like this track. So it's the whammy octave function. I use that. Something like this. Then I also did some noises, rhythmic noises. It's like a counting instead of the drums. And then the last. It's not the best edit, I guess, but it worked in the mix. So many times I don't have too much time to satisfy my perfectionism, so I just deal with it. Then the next riff came. It's more like a canon, like a question and answer. I don't know how to express it in English. Let me just show you. It's just in mono, it's not so cool. One side is this. This was the pre-recorded one. So where's the other? Because I didn't want to switch between channels and the whammy and all that, it's easier for me, and also with the After Effects, to just cut it at this point and make grouped channel, route it to the lead channel. You can hear the reverb and the delay and whatnot there, and it moved into the middle, and that's where you can see also coming in the pre-recorded rhythms to the left side. So it just doesn't empty out, it stays in balance, so to say. And I always love to add over the leads, like for certain parts, like some additional, like this one. Yeah, for example, like this part, I had this melody in my head. Yeah. That was the original melody. Yeah, and then I found, you know, the additional ones. Yes, with the lead. Originally I had a little different track for the rhythm, but since it's such a distinct melody, I made the rhythm channel follow this. So that was added afterwards. And then as the solo develops, there's some extra. Yeah, there's like another melody that I wanted to harmonize, so the two together. So it builds up, there's more tracks coming in, these are the extra tracks. Well, let me show you the first. It's a bad edit. The whammy, octave. And so yeah, this is also not the most elegant way to do things. I don't like to deal with automation, so I just cut it and I make it smaller. It's more difficult when I use plugins and I have dry signals only. I cannot do that, then I have to use automation, which takes more time and effort, and I don't like that. So then the other channel will be... And then also... with the lead. Finally, the last part, which is kind of cool, with the whammy, I did this. It's the same like the minor third. Yeah. And also I did crazy. Look at here, someplace, the second time. When I go up now. These two. Just throws you off a little bit. Yeah, that's the actual writing session. I came up with all these parts, record them, try it out, listen it back, whatever. And then, when the writing is done, I practice a little bit, and once I feel comfortable, I just set up the cameras, everything. Usually turn off the left sides, make the drums louder, making it comfortable for myself to record. And then I record, and then I do mixing. I'm not a mixer, I can do these demos. Yeah, I'm not a pro by any means. And the last thing that I record is the bass. Yeah, I guess that's the way. This is a riff. I've been struggling to figure it out because it's very hard to hear what's going on actually, because there's so many layers of guitars, there's a lot of gain, so the texture is pretty thick. And it's hard to hear really what's going on. I tuned my guitar to 440 standard E, whereas the original track is tuned to 425 standard E. There's 3 versions for the bridge. First, let's talk about the first 2 bridges. Let's start with verse number 1. I'm gonna show you the notes. We're gonna play these triads. The first note would be E5 and A4. The next one would be half a note higher, E6 and A5. We later move it down E3 and A2. So, and then in between, we're gonna play open E strings. The pattern would look like this. Starting from the 5th, we're gonna play it once, and then twice open E. So, and then we repeat half a note higher. The next group of notes would be once again E5 and only one E string in between, and then move up and then one more E string. So together so far. And then we go down to the G3, and then after this we're gonna play an open E power chord. The next step would be the phrasings. We're gonna mute almost every note here, except for the last 2, so I'm gonna show you that. Okay, the next step would be the picking pattern, and that's an alternate picking starting with the downstroke. So down, up, down, up, down, up, all the way through. Another important thing is that after the last E power chord, there's a little 8-note rest. Oh, quarter note rest. And then the next phrasing would be this bend here on the G note, around half a note. The Texas vibe that you put it there. A little slower. The last bar would look like this. When we go down to the G, instead of playing that bend up part, we're gonna slide up from here, adding a color, so it's not you stop on a specific note, and then pick the D5 with a downstroke, and then up on the A7. The D5 is actually a pinched harmonic, and then the A5 is heavily vibrated. So this part, this last bar, slowly. The whole thing, up to speed. So this would be verse number 1, and then twice we repeat, but instead of adding that rest after the E power chord, we're gonna let that ring. Everything else is the same. Now let's talk about the very end, the last part of the song. Instead of playing these triads, Now we're gonna play power chords. And the notes would be in order: 5, 6, 3, 5, then 2, and then from the 3 we slide up to the 4. So. And in between the notes, we're gonna play muted E strings. Again, everything else except for the last 2 notes are palm muted. The 5th we play twice at the beginning, and then an open E. And then we go up to the 6th, and then twice the E. And then down to the G. After that, only once on the E. So far. And then back to the 5th, and once the E. And then to the 2nd one on the E string, and then an E. At the end, we slide up from the E to the 4. So slowly, with power chords. And again, we play it with alternate pickings, so. Which can throw you off because of how you arrive the notes. So it doesn't always start with the downstroke. Maybe it's better to practice this without the mutings. And then add the mutings. The first 3 bars, we're gonna let the 4th ring. And in the last one is just a quick 8th note and then the rest. And then finito. So I hope this cleared up a little air around these controversial parts. Enough said. Ciao. Well, I guess this was it for today. Thank you very much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and give me a like if you want to support to grow this channel. Also, I got a Patreon site, so if you want to get exclusive contents, tablatures, previews and whatnot, or just want to support me to keep doing what I do here, just make sure that you click on the Patreon link below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. I wish you a fun day. Ciao.